Hey, look at that. Oh, well, that was a sudden stop. Oh, yeah. Hi, everybody. We're here. Getting ready here on this live stream. We got lots to talk about today. And some stuff seemed like one thing, but now seems like there's other stuff behind it too. Also, we're going to talk about. Okay, hold on. Let me look. I got to look because I got to. We are going to be talking about former Tennessee volunteer quarterback Nico Iamaleava. There we go. Nailed it. I nailed that son of a bitch. That was pretty good. I'll tell you what. All that coming up and more right here on Stay Tuned Sports. Hold on. We got to do the intro thing, you know. Welcome everybody to Stay Tuned Sports. It is your boy King. That is your good friend Jimbo right over there. We want to thank you once again for watching us here on the Stay Tuned Sports channel. Thank you so much for your support. If you like what you're watching so far, I guess, you know, maybe if you've liked what you've watched before, because we haven't really gotten to the show yet. So you don't know if you like it, but maybe you do. I have no idea. Either way, hit that like button. Helps us out tremendously. If you're new here, have not seen us at all, don't know what's going on, but you're intrigued. You're wondering, hey, what are these guys up to? Easy way to follow along is hit that subscribe button. Helps us get closer to that 500 follower goal so that we can get monetized and do a lot more stuff here for you guys and certainly help. Another way you can help with that, hit that share button. Show us around to all your friends and family, lovers, husbands, wives, people on the side. I don't give a shit. Whoever you want to send it to, go ahead, hit that share button, share us around. It's fantastic. 3 ways, just those 3 buttons, absolutely for free. You can help us out tremendously here at Stay Tuned Sports. If you want to help us out in a slightly more financial way, monetarily, if you will, we have a link for our donation station in the chat, which, by the way, wide open. You want to come in, say hi, say hello, say how you doing. Chat is open, as well as in the description below this video. The link is both in those 2 places, as well as the link for our merch store, Jimbo, which we, of course, you saw a little bit here on the standby countdown, if you will. Some of the items we have there, we have shirts, we have hoodies, we have mugs. We also have, let me reach over here to show you all, because I like showing it, because I'm very proud of it. Stay Tuned Sports coffee, baby. It's here. It's delicious. It's wonderful. That was my thing. I was very excited when I found that we could have our very own Stay Tuned Sports coffee. Loved it. Loved the idea. I even called it the Danny Dimes Medium Roast because it helps wake you up like you're getting hit by a fucking defensive end going 1,000 miles an hour because your offensive line's not blocking for you. Delicious, by the way. But that was my fear. I was worried we're going to have a coffee, but the coffee's not going to make. What if it's shit coffee? What if it doesn't taste good? So we got it. I brewed it. I drank it. Gotta tell you, it's fucking delicious. It really is. Nice little hints of punching the mic again. Look at that. We gotta get the countdown for that. Anyway, yes, very good. Chocolate notes, got a little bit of a chocolatey note to it. It's wonderful, beautiful. Mwah, love it. You're gonna love it too. So you can get that over at our merch store. Link in the chat and in the description below this video. Plugs out of the way. Jimbo, how are we doing today?
I kind of said to you right before we came on, shit, Dave, early, almost didn't make it because Zoom wasn't.
Apparently, Zoom had a global downage today. So glad that got fixed just in the nick of time. Thank you very much, Zoom.
And but I mean, I'll give them props. That's probably the first time we had issues.
Really, honestly, since we've been using it, no, I can't remember another time where we've had a catastrophic Zoom failure. No, a couple times I think there's been like either a hiccup in the stream or it's made it, a little choppy or something, but it's not been terrible. So, good for Zoom.
So Zoom, if you want to sponsor us after, we gave some.
That would be fantastic. Obviously, we can't use Skype anymore, so that's rest ye very well, Skype. You served us well in those early days of the late aughts, early tens of the 2000s here. God, That's the thing. I think about it. Like 2010 is 15 years ago. Fuck
Yeah.
off. God, I hate getting old. That's like 25 years since the turn of millennium. I remember that. I remember Y2K and everything like that. Oh, the bright future that we all had out in front of us. Boy, that did not turn out great. These last 25 years have not been especially great. Ask any millennial out there.
There was 2 years that were really good for out of those 25.
I swear to Christ, if you say fucking 2017 and 2024, I'm gonna fucking just shut the fuck up. Although 2007 and 2011 were pretty good, so if you want to look at it from that standpoint, so
Well,
well,
maybe this year, since the Flyers allowed the Devils to make the playoffs, maybe.
well, here's the thing. I guess in this century, we have to say that now because it's been a quarter century already, so we can already say this, in this century, the Giants have been to 3 Super Bowls and won 2, and the Eagles have been to 4 Super Bowls and won 2. So not bad, not
Take
terrible.
that, Emmett Smith.
Well, Emmett's kind of giving shit to the Cowboys. I saw the latest thing he says the Cowboys are a crying shame right now. So
It started off that the Eagles are won 2 Super Bowls, and I'm an old man, angry and.
well,
shut
that
up.
too. Well, listen. So far, Emmitt Smith has more Super Bowls as a player than you guys have as a franchise. So I mean, technically, he's not wrong. So
I know, but how many do they have in the past 30 years?
that's a point that we can bring up very well, and I understand that. And I often bring it up to Ranger fans who, oh boy, missed the play. Went from President's Trophy winning team to missing the playoffs. Ooh, that's got to sting. It's got to sting, blue shits, huh? Huh? Fucking Rangers. Fuck off.
That's what you get for putting Rempe on your team.
And also, I think I posted this in the group chat. This is the first time in history that my beloved New Jersey Devils have qualified for the playoffs, where the other teams within that 90-mile radius, the Rangers, Islanders, and Philadelphia Flyers, did not make it in the same year as the Devils. So very interesting, very historic year. I'm very excited. I'm going to probably try to live stream some of the Devils playoff games. We're probably going to get swept by Carolina. I understand that. I have no great illusions about, the Devils making a miraculous run to the Stanley Cup Finals, but I'll be excited. I'll be cheering. Listen, it's better to be in the playoffs than not in the playoffs. I'll say that. And for the last couple of years where the Devils were either in or out, it's not bad. Although we did beat the shit out of the Rangers a couple of years ago in the playoffs in the first round, so that is always fun.
That's true.
7-game series, but it was good. Okay, anyway, let's talk a little bit here about the New Orleans Saints and Derek Carr. Now, news started coming out, I want to say about mid last week, a little bit after we had done a podcast, but so towards the end of last week, there were rumblings coming out of New Orleans from the Saints, from Derek Carr's camp, that his injury's not progressing the way that they had hoped, that he still seemed to be injured, and maybe to the point where he might not play in the 2025 season, may not have the ability to go ahead and compete. So that, at that time, kind of threw everybody off into a, well, now what's going to happen? What do the Saints got to do? Now are the Saints now a late entry into the Aaron Rodgers sweepstake? Are they going to be desperate enough to go and do that? Are they going to look ahead and trying to maybe move up in the draft somehow to get a quarterback? Maybe Shedeur Sanders, maybe Jackson Dart, maybe somebody like that, if they're desperate enough for a quarterback. I've seen some people say, well, they have Spencer Rattler. We watched Spencer Rattler last year. They do not have Spencer Rattler. I don't know who that is, but Spencer Rattler's not a good quarterback. We saw that last year. Sorry, I hate to tell you. So that kind of puts New Orleans in a interesting spot. And before we move on to anything else, your thoughts when you did first hear that, when you first heard like, oh, Derek Carr might not be ready for the season, may not play all season, and when you heard that, what did it mean to you as far as the Saints moving forward?
Well, like the first thing I thought of, because like the injury happened, what, about halfway through the season?
Well, no, because the one that put him out the whole season was against the Giants, and I think that was more the hand and shoulder when he kind of got flipped up in the air and he landed awkwardly on the sidelines at MetLife. So that was the one that kind of knocked him out the rest of the year. I think that it's been said, like, he's had a nagging shoulder injury for the last couple years apparently, and that was something that was I think relatively known beforehand. But they've also come out and said it's the hand injury is what it is, but the shoulder injury is really what's kind of been bothering him for a very long time, and so they're looking to go ahead and see if they could change that, or fix that, and that's what was kind of the hitch and a giddy up here was the shoulder.
And that's what I thought. He had the shoulder issue for a couple of years.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if he opts not to do the surgery, and I mean, he's not no spring chicken. He retires.
Well, here's the thing.
That ruling, playing, and possibly re-injuring that shoulder for the fourth time or whatever it is.
Right. So here's the thing that's been kind of now been slowly coming out, and now we're starting to see something. Now a lot of this comes from our good friend Ari Miroff, who I kind of don't like because he kind of shits on the Giants a bunch, even though he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. But he does have some good information. He's relatively reliable. I have him up there with Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissaro, sorry, those guys, because I feel like for the most part he's not Dove Kleiman, so we'll put it that way. Yeah. But we've seen some stuff coming out here now. This is what Ari says here. Again, at My Sports Update on the Twits. He says there's buzz around the NFL circles that Derek Carr has been wanting out of the Saints all offseason, and that his shoulder injury might be part of that particular push to get him out of New Orleans. Meanwhile, the Saints have been planning to draft a QB regardless this entire offseason, but we have not heard the end of this story. So that was his original tweet we saw about 5 hours ago. He did expand on it as well, and I'll get to that in a second. But hearing that now, like here, we all thought that it was just the injury. Oh, the injury's not going well. It's not healing or rehabbing correctly. He might be out all season. Oh no, what's going on? Now we're hearing, well, he might be using the shoulder injury to try to get himself out of New Orleans.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that before we go into what the little extra stuff that Ari's put here?
It kind of makes sense because even before Kellen Moore got hired as the head coach, he it kind of sounded like he wanted out of New Orleans. He didn't want to do a rebuild. He didn't want to be a mentor to a young quarterback, a rookie quarterback. So I could kind of see this, like him pushing his way out. And the other thing I saw, like I don't want to say this was a confirmed rumor, but more of a theory. One quarterback to keep an eye on, not Aaron Rodgers, my boy Tanner McKee, Philly's backup, the kid that I want to start over Kenny Pickett, knows Kellen Moore's offense. He's young. He's only been in the league 2, maybe 3 seasons.
Do you think he goes down there and okay? But then what do you do with Spencer Rattler? Does he become the 3 and you bring in Tanner McKee to be the 2, or is Tanner McKee going to be? Is Tanner McKee the Tommy DeVito in this situation?
I would say Spencer Rattler's the Tommy DeVito, and then Tanner McKee, as of right now, is a slightly better Jameis Winston. Possibly give him a couple of years. Could be a Russell Wilson back in the day good. Yeah.
God, Jesus Christ, Jimbo. That's a hell of a thing.
We're just
get freezing cold takes in here, and let's cut I will cut this particular part of the live stream out, send that to freezing cold takes, so that in a couple of years we can find out what's going to happen with the great Tanner McKee.
But the only way that happens is if they actually do move on from Derek Carr. They're not going to trade for Tanner McKee. If they're going to have,
and also if you're the Eagles, why would you? If you feel that you have a backup there that is good enough that, like, again, you traded Kenny Pickett away. Like, you traded who Kenny Pickett was, like, he let, or was he traded, or was he just like, I don't know if he was a free agent or not?
He was traded.
Okay, so you traded away Kenny Pickett, your backup. And for what we know right now, unless they make other moves or draft a young quarterback or whatever the case may be, I don't think they would. You know, you don't want to draft a young quarterback that would kind of, I think, rub Jalen the wrong way. Um,
Yeah.
so it feels like that if that's the case, then they're going to ride with Tanner McKee, no matter how much Kellen Moore likes him. You know, if I'm the Eagles, you need a good backup in this league.
Yeah.
And so if you feel you have a good backup in Mr. McKee there, then I don't think you would trade him uh, unless it's a absurd package. And I don't think anybody's going to have an absurd package for a backup quarterback.
Yeah, like it would have to be like third or fourth round draft pick to trade him away. And in the Kenny Pickett trade, we got DRC from the Browns, who I think is a decent backup. You know, he's not a
So then that's the question too. I think the competition would be for the backup between DTR and Tanner McKee
yeah.
for your Philadelphia Eagles, and see who gets the number 2 spot and who gets the emergency quarterback spot. So that's something to look out. But again, because of how all this stuff has just kind of exploded onto the NFL scene, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, this is a late little wrench into the draft stuff. This is a late, you know, this is a real twist here in the plot, if you will, in the storylines here. A little bit more here from Ari. Again, at My Sports Update on the twits. The situation between Derek Carr and the Saints hasn't gotten much national attention, mainly because the team hasn't been in the spotlight nationally. But since the start of the offseason, Carr's contract has been a complicated issue, factoring in the Saints' tight cap space. Carr's injury guarantees, his end-of-season hand injury, and more have contributed to that. The prevailing belief is that Derek Carr doesn't want to be in New Orleans, and that if he's forced to stay, he might choose to miss significant time due to that lingering shoulder injury that's bothered him for years. It's an awkward situation, and there's likely more to the story to talk about. Now, that's the thing. Now we're talking about a player using an injury as leverage to try to get out of somewhere he maybe doesn't want to be. Again, we need to preface this by saying this is all alleged. This is all what has been heard. Sources say, that kind of thing. So none of this is absolute fact, but some of it does track. So we're going to run with this. We'll talk about this under the assumption that the information that is kind of coming out about the situation in New Orleans is more fact than fiction. So I just want to put that out there. You know, I don't think we're going to get sued for, you know, having a debate about it, but these days, you never know who's going to get upset about whatever. And I doubt Derek Carr knows we exist, but who knows, you know. So that being said, trying to leverage an injury to get out of a place that you don't want to be. And then if you do happen to get out of there, you know what? Put a little turtle in there, I'll be fine. Like what is the end game? Is first of all, the things are, I'm ignorant to a lot of maybe the bylaws and stuff, so I don't know how much of this is exactly legal. If you can do that within the NFL structure, like say, oh, I got an injury. Ooh, I got an injury. And then as soon as you're either traded or released or let go or whatever, be like, you know what? Actually, pretty miraculous healing. You're very good. And two would be like, what has soured Derek Carr to the New Orleans situation overall? Is it the locker room? Is it the fact that because I mean, people are already saying, well, you know, if Derek Carr doesn't want to be there, then Chris Olave, you know, is going to be happy because he's not going to any more hospital balls thrown to him. Obviously, Michael Thomas went on that huge rant on Twitter last year, saying he's like, "I told you, look at what he does. He's trying to murder motherfuckers. Look at him." So you know, is that part of it? Is it a bad locker room for him? Is it the people in the locker room not like Derek Carr because he's maybe throwing bad balls? Is he throwing hospital balls? Or people in, like that? Is it a toxic locker room for him? Is that why he doesn't want to be there? Is it the organization overall? Does he not like Kellen Moore? Does he not like the new hire? Did he like Derek? I don't know why you would like Derek Allen. He sucked. But, like, is there, like, what is the, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, where did the souring point happen?
I think this is more Derek Carr, because even when we was with Oakland towards the end there, he seemed like kind of being like a little baby in a way, and that's why they ended up releasing him. And then
there was a lot of the thing with that was there was a lot of Josh McDaniels with that. I don't know why I said Josh Allen. He's a quarterback for the Bills. Has nothing to do with being a coach for the Raiders. But because McDaniels, like, I think he traded him during his wedding or something. Like, he was at his wedding or something, and he traded. And Renfro, he did that. Yeah, that's right. Not Hunter Renfro. The other one. Yeah, he was with the Giants for a play. But there was still something else with Josh Allen too. Not Josh Allen. I keep on saying Josh Allen. Josh McDaniels with Derek Carr to the point that it. Because then Josh traded because Josh didn't like him. He didn't want him there. He's not my quarterback. I don't think I can work with him. And it seemed like that they had some, the Raiders seemed like they had something there for a little while when they had Bisaccia there as their interim head coach that year. They looked like there was something there. It looked like they're, and of course, when Devontae Adams came over, he wanted to play with Derek Carr, knew him, loved. They were friends back from Fresno State days, and just having them there, and then having Josh McDaniels kind of piss in the punch bowl, as it were, kind of soured everybody. And then they traded him, which again soured the relationship with Devontae Adams, which then led to it was a complete organizational collapse once Josh McDaniels got there. Surprise, surprise. So I don't put a lot of that on Derek Carr, put a lot of that on Josh McDaniels. But that's what I mean. I don't understand where was that in New Orleans, unless it is the fact that he was or the perception was that he was throwing bad balls to his receivers, getting his receivers hurt, and just maybe nobody in the locker room liked him. Maybe he just wasn't liked in the locker room, and he's just like, all right, fuck it, I don't want to be here. That's what I want to know. Like, that's the bit of the story. That's the scuttlebutt. That's the sources say stuff that hasn't come out yet that I'm itching. I almost feel like I'm a gossip girl here, like, oh, spill the tea, girlfriend. Like, I wanted, like, let's go. Tell me the story. What the fuck happened? Like, what has made it so bad? Or is it just the organization? Is he just like, man, these guys don't know fucking their asshole from their elbows, and so I don't want to be here. To me, there's a lot of questions like that. But all that being said, now, where does New Orleans go from here? They are desperate for a quarterback. They need somebody. Now, the question comes up, and of course it's been proposed. Aaron Rodgers is still out there. Old Aaron, knocking on the sky, talking to the gods. Rodgers, still out there, still available for anybody to come pick up. Now, the prevailing thought is that it's a foregone conclusion. He's going to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some people have said, oh, maybe he goes towards retirement. I happen to fall more in the fact that he's going to play next year than anything. He doesn't want to end his career the way it ended with the Jets. So, and the prevailing thought is Pittsburgh seems like a good spot. They got good receivers. They have a great defense if they could put things together there. And this is a make or break year for Tomlin. They have to win a couple playoff games, or Tomlin and the Steelers are probably going to mutually part ways, as they say. But now you have a situation here with the Saints of they're desperate. They need a quarterback too. Now, they, of course, I don't think are in the same spot talent-wise as the Steelers. They don't have the cap space. Obviously, they're in cap hell. But as anybody in the NFL knows, if you can fudge the math enough to make the fucking cap work for you. I mean, look what Tampa Bay did. What was that, 7, 8 years ago now, when they had everybody come in? They had Tom Brady come in. They brought in Gronkowski and everybody else. It's like, how are they doing this? It's like, well, because they fudged and loopholed every goddamn salary cap rule that there was to do it. All legal, but you can do it. You know what I mean? Any good general manager, any good cap space guy can do that. So maybe that's what the Saints are going to do too. But do they go all in for Aaron Rodgers, or they look to draft? And because that's the thing, would Aaron Rodgers even want to go to New Orleans? Now, I say there's a possibility. Why? Lots of haunted stuff in New Orleans.
I was gonna say,
A lot of graveyards, a lot of haunted houses, a lot of history like that. A lot of the spirits and voodoo stuff, like right up Aaron's alley. Like you're going to tell me that he wouldn't pass that up? Yeah. You take a little magic mushrooms and start walking around the graveyards, communing with the dead. Yeah, you're going to tell me Aaron Rodgers isn't going to want to fucking do that? Of course he is. So I think there's that. And if they can offer enough money, if they can find enough change in their couch cushions down there, maybe it's something. And they do have talented receivers. They have a young and upcoming defense. Maybe not great, but it's something. And, Kellen Moore, young, bright head coach out there doing something. Maybe there's something. Maybe there's something. I still think it's probably Pittsburgh, but, I don't think the chance is zero that he doesn't go to New Orleans. Could. Yeah. I'm not going to say zero. I think the more likely option, obviously, is going to the draft. And now you got to start looking at where the Saints are in the draft, what quarterbacks are in the draft, who's going to pick who. And if you're the Saints at this point, maybe you try to get aggressive, trade up into the draft to maybe get a quarterback that you want that you're afraid might not be there at your spot. Now, I don't know exactly what spot the fucking Saints are. Let me see.
I believe they're number 9.
I was going to say, because they were not very good. So, let's see here. The New Orleans Saints, aren't they? Look at you fucking font of knowledge. Jimbo with the 9 pull for the Saints. So, at 9, I think at 9 they could probably still pull Shedeur Sanders and not have to worry about trading up. I think, I really don't think that Shedeur's going to go anywhere.
Here's the thing:
higher.
If I'm the Saints, if Sanders is sitting there at 9, I'm just giving up on the season. Trade back, get some draft picks, and cause maybe next year's quarterback draft class may be better than this year, and might be able to get a better quarterback.
That's a hard sell to your fans to just say, "Hey, listen, we're punting."
No, You're punting, yeah. That's what I meant, But I understand that because Shedeur Sanders, it's the name. He's electric. He's fun to watch, but fun to watch doesn't win championships. Like what I mean, he runs around like Michael Vick, but isn't that great?
No. Well, he doesn't really, and that's the other thing that people have brought up. Like he doesn't have quite the mobility of some of the other quarterbacks that you'd like to see, like a Lamar Jackson, like a Josh Allen, like a Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't have the same mobility. That he is very much a pocket passer. He is, but also in being a pocket passer, not extremely accurate. That's why I said listen. Can Shedeur Sanders be a serviceable to good NFL quarterback in 3 to 5 years? Yes, I think there's a chance he could be. Not if you start him, but if you pick him up, if he has time. The problem with the Saints is they don't have anybody else. So that's what I mean. If you're going to draft somebody, if you're going to start Shedeur Sanders, it might be ugly. But I think it's ugly whoever you pick. Because I don't think there's a great quarterback. Like again, some people have said, well, maybe they pick Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. Sure, you could do that, but I think you're going to be in a lot of the same situation of not ready for the NFL, not ready for that. And I think people have, unfortunately, they have that recency bias because of C.J. Stroud, because of Jaden Daniels, that they're like, these guys can come right out and you start them and they're great, and you start them and they're great, and it's like, well, let's also not forget that the number one pick last year fucking sucked on the Bears, and you could sit there and say, well, it's the Bears' offensive line and they didn't have this or whatever. Listen, Washington didn't have fucking much either, all right? Washington's literally rebuilding an entire organization. They had Jaden Daniels and you had Terry McLaurin. And that's what you had. And guess what? Brian Robinson came out and had a hell of a fucking season at the running back position. They were able to go ahead. And again, the thing with Washington is their defense was atrocious. And the way they were able to win games and get to the NFC Championship game was just simply outscoring everybody else they played. The only team they couldn't do that to was the Eagles, who they went 2-1 against. Unfortunately, in the NFC Championship game, they got fucking smoked. But, the fact that they got there was something. And with that team the way it is, this is what I'm saying is like Jaden Daniels feels like he was more NFL ready than Caleb Williams was. And people were trying to say, no, it's the other way around. It's like, well, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Jaden Daniels went to a shitty team. Caleb Williams went to a shitty team, who I honestly think maybe had some better parts than Washington did. And still, Jaden Daniels and the Redskins did so much better than what Chicago did. So I think there is still that recency bias of the C.J. Stroud with the Houston Texans, with Jaden Daniels of the Washington Redskins, that you've done so well, so quickly right off the bat, that any quarterback that comes out of college is going to be able to do that. And you look at this class, like, and now the consensus number one pick, as far as Cam
Ward.
Ward, thank you. I don't know why Cam Newton just popped in my head. I was like, it's not Cam Newton. Cam Newton fucking played already. He's not there. But Cam Ward is the consensus number one. I don't think he's ready. I don't think he's an NFL-ready quarterback yet. If you watch those Miami games, all the games they won were by the skin of their ball sack. Like, let's be honest. Like, it wasn't any great. Again, like you said, is he exciting? Is he dynamic? Yes and yes. Is he NFL ready? Can he win games in the NFL? Don't know. And especially going to a team like Tennessee that is in flux now, if will be the polite way of saying it. But again, if you're the Saints, going back to just all this, if you're the Saints, like, what other choice do you have? This is what I mean. If the Saints are really in a rock and a hard place of either we draft a quarterback that isn't NFL ready, but we got to start him because what else are we going to fucking do? Or do you make a run at Aaron Rodgers? And the only thing that might do is raise the price for the Steelers to now get him. And this is what I mean. It feels to me like the Steelers were fine letting Aaron take as long as he wanted. Go travel around the world, smoke some weed, take some mushrooms, experience, whatever the fuck it is you're doing. You fucking weird hippie bastard. And do all that, do whatever you're going to do. But, we know he's going to come to us. We know we're the preferred destination. Now, with all of a sudden this happening, maybe with the Saints jumping in there, now all of a sudden maybe Aaron's agent is like, well, sorry guys, but the price just went up because New Orleans says they want to do this and they'll offer this and they'll do this and blah, blah, blah. They're throwing in free coupons for the ghost tours around there. You know what I mean? It's really, all you can drink hurricanes down at the French Quarter. Like, they can do a lot. You know what I mean? They can do a lot. So, now you got to look at it from Pittsburgh's standpoint too. Because here's the thing. If Pittsburgh doesn't get Aaron Rodgers, much like my father said, and I'm in agreement with him on this one, Pittsburgh's fucked.
Yeah.
Like, who are you going to start? Who are you playing? Mason fucking Rudolph? Eat shit. And like other people have said, well, maybe wherever the Steelers are, because they're down in the teens, I think. 21, actually. Some people are saying maybe Shedeur drops to 21 or Jackson Dart drops to 21, and maybe they'll be able to pick them up. And we have the same conversation we just had about the Saints. You could do that, but he's not going to be fucking ready. So then your option is going to be either Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, whoever you would draft there, or Mason Rudolph in a make or break year for your head coach, in which he has to win, in my estimation, probably multiple playoff games in order to stay in that job. You fucking no. Like, absolutely not. Like, what the fuck are we doing? So, I mean, I think at this point now, some alarm bells have to be going off there in Western Pennsylvania, and getting. You have to start, I think, now getting serious about, Aaron, what the fuck are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, are you coming here? Are you not? Because again, and this is one thing I will give begrudgingly a little credit to my Giants for, is that, because again, they were very much in on the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes there, but it just turned out to be prolonging. And while that's going on, other quarterbacks are getting signed, other quarterbacks are moving, and the Giants said, you know what? If we wait any longer and he goes to Pittsburgh, we literally have nobody. We have Tommy DeVito on the roster. That's what we got. And so the Giants made the call to go with Jameis Winston, and then also got Russell Wilson. So now they have a full quarterback room. Some people are still saying they should draft a quarterback. Those people should shut the fuck up, because in that 3 spot, it's I'm sorry, it's Travis Hunter if he's there, and if he's not there, it's Abdul Carter. You have 2 can't miss prospects right there. And if Joe Shane fucks it up, because we're doing a live stream, and I've said this before on some of these other shows, these other podcasts we've done. If Joe Shane, Jimbo, look at me, know how serious I am. If Joe Shane picks Shedeur Sanders, or any quarterback really, instead of either Travis Hunter, if he's there, if the Browns don't pick him, or Abdul Carter, either one, like I said, even if both are there, if he picks either one of them in the 3 spot, I'm a happy guy. I'm very happy. But if he decides to go ahead and pick a quarterback, or pick something else out of the fucking ass, like if he goes for like a fucking a punt returner or something, I don't fucking know. Knowing Joe Shane, who knows? All I'm saying is, if he picks like a fucking Shedeur Sanders, I will have maybe the longest string of profanities you've ever heard in your fucking life. And I will walk off this stream. I may come back eventually, but all you will hear in the background is a very large, somewhat physically disabled man, probably drunk, screaming random obscenities at random times every time that I'm reminded of how much I hate Joe Shane. I'm just saying, it's for the Giants, it's so fucking simple. Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. Have 2 cards ready just in case.
Yeah.
And if the Browns go ahead and pick Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. If the Browns pick somebody else, hey, guess what? You have 2 can't miss picks, baby. You can't miss. Travis Hunter, fantastic defensive back. Going to be great there. Shut that down. Also, gives you a little wrinkle on the offensive side. Use him as a wide receiver 3. Pretty nice. Right? And then you have Abdul Carter, who's posting pictures of Lawrence Taylor, on his Instagram, and would be, he's such a great edge rusher. Coming off the edge, he would be the absolute opposite of Kayvon Thibodeau, the bust that he's been. And Abdul Carter going there and just wreaking havoc on that side. You'd have Dexter Lawrence in the middle stopping the run. You'd have Kayvon Thibodeau doing nothing on one end, and then you'd have Abdul Carter on the other, fucking just getting in the backfield, causing havoc, just feeding them to Dexter Lawrence. Go ahead, second, or he'll just get into the back and murder a quarterback too. Mwah, love it, can't miss it. If you don't do that, it'll be a one-man riot. I'll riot. I don't give a shit. I will go outside. I'll start burning a trash can out of nowhere. I'll just look like a bum trying to keep warm. Don't care. I will start a one-man riot because, you should have been fired in January. Don't fuck this up, Joe Shane. That's all I'm going to say. So, long and short of this is just simply the Saints and this whole Derek Carr situation has really thrown a wrench. Just, what are we, about a week and a half now, or less? We're about a week away from the draft.
Thursday is a week, so tomorrow is a week away.
Right, that's what I mean. So we're 8 days away. We're 8 days away from the draft. What a twist to have happen right at this time that kind of now might shift some things of how some teams are planning, what some teams are going to do. Does a team trade up, trade down? Do players all of a sudden get traded because the Saints need one? Like, that's the other thing too. Maybe a team trades the Saints a quarterback, and then they look to draft something, maybe a backup or something. But desperate times call for desperate measures. I'm excited to see what happens now in the coming weeks. Week when it comes to what happens here before the NFL draft. And just quickly, we'll touch on a couple of the subjects here real quick. I think we touched a little bit on the NHL and how my Devils are going to be in the playoffs and probably get swept by the Hurricanes, but a team that I absolutely can't stand and hate. But we'll see what happens with that. Also, NHL, listen. When I was growing up, it was a divisional playoff kind of format they had where the teams in division would play each other and then it would move on. And I was a kid, I liked it. It was great. And when they said they were going to bring that kind of style back about, I want to say 10, 15 years ago, I was okay with it. I was like, yeah, no, that's kind of old school how I remember. Boy, let's get rid of that. Okay, let's go back to the fucking conference thing. The division winners have fucking the bye, or not a bye, but, they get the higher seed. And then just have the 1 through 8 and have those teams play each other and shit like that, because we're just getting the same fucking matchups every year. And I mean, the teams are already rivals anyway. Like, Florida and Tampa are playing like in the first round again. Okay, we get it. Like that would be a cool thing to see in the conference finals. I'd like to see that. Like Devils Rangers. That's the thing. Devils Rangers couldn't be in the conference finals right now because of the way the fucking playoffs are set up. Like it's Devils Rangers first round. Yeah, it's cool, but it's not as cool as Devils Rangers conference finals. That's pretty good. So yeah, let's change that around. Okay. That being said, now another big story from the world of football. This time it's college football. Is our good friend Nico Iamaleava. Yeah, fucking nailed it. Yes.
Back-to-back.
Look at that, man. Doing good. I feel good about it. I feel good. I feel very good about that. Hamster, good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us. Late, better than never. But great to see you. So, word started coming out again late last week. Tennessee started their spring practices, getting ready for the spring game, getting everything like that. And their starting quarterback from last year brought them to the playoffs. Got crushed in fucking Ohio State. But Nico Iamaleava just didn't show up. He said, you know what? I brought Tennessee in the Power T to the college football playoffs. Got our asses kicked, but I brought you there. So you know what? I want to rework this little NIL contract. I want a little bit more money. Maybe not him. I think it might have been his representative or whoever represents him. To which Tennessee said, that's an interesting take. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut you. Have fun. And so now Nico is out there, obviously in the transfer portal. But as like some people said, some teams already have their, most teams, especially in higher level Division I, Power 5, as it were, Division I. But they have their starting quarterbacks. Like they are fairly set with who they have, and not only that, seeing how Nico has acted, and his representatives have acted. Do you want that on your team? Do you want that kind of person on your team? That becomes a big question. Now, some of the other things that I've learned as the week has gone on, watching some of these talking head shows, obviously Dan Patrick, Pat McAfee, all the other ones. And I believe this one was from, who was it that said it? I forget the exact reporter who said it, but as he was talking to one of the talking heads, he had brought up the fact that the people that you would think, like, how with NFL teams, like to negotiate a contract or something, you have to have an agent. Agent has to be certified by, these certain regulatory boards and agencies and stuff like that usually work for an agency, or if their own person, they're, you pass by. You have certifications you have to go by, to legally be able to do that, because again, it's a legal document when you think about a contract or anything like that. College doesn't have that. It can just be, my friend Mickey from down the block. I'm going to have him represent me and do
Yeah.
this. So this is what a lot of people were saying. Like, I don't know who the representation for Nico Yamanama
Two for three.
yeah, Iyamaliava. I
More
don't know
accurate
who.
than Deshaun
I
Watson.
don't know who his representation is, but it wouldn't surprise me that it's kind of that situation where it's just like one of his guys from back home, and he's like, Nico, trust me, I got this. Don't worry about it. And he goes to Tennessee, the Tennessee Brass, and is like, yeah, I brought you to the playoffs. He wants a couple more million put up on his NIL, so let's do that. Chop chop. And probably thought, not bad. Of course, they're not going to let you go. You're an SEC quarterback who went to the college football playoff. They'll keep you. Trust me, they're going to keep you, guy. And then as soon as that happens, then it's okay. Cut. See you later. First of all, Heifel, congratulations, great move on that part. Just
Yeah, I totally agree.
we do not negotiate with terrorists around here. But it's also brought up in a larger scope what a lot of people feel is wrong with college football right now, and not so much the player, I'll get into that in a little bit. But as always, Jimbo, I've presented the topic here about Nico Iamaliava and about what the situation was. Your thoughts and your take before we dive in a little bit further.
Well, like you just kind of said, kudos to the Tennessee head coach for cutting him. One of my one of my biggest pet peeves with the NFL is players with 2-3 years left on their contract. I want to renegotiate. No, you still got 2 or 3 more years. If you want at the start of your last year of your contract, want to renegotiate, then yes. This kid had, I believe, this year and then next year was his final year of the NIL deal. Now, it again from what I've been listening to and with the talking heads and everything like that, to me it sounds like it's more who's representing him than Nico himself.
I agree. Like I said, I brought up. I agree with that, especially if it is that way. Now, again, it would also be on Nico for choosing who represents him. So I think there's a little. You have to. There is some blame on Nico in this.
Yeah. The other thing too, I've heard is supposedly the representative is his father. So we have another LeVar Ball type situation.
If that's the hey, listen, LeVar Ball got his kids fucking paid. So at the end of the day, LeVar Ball kind of worked out.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem like that's gonna go that way.
As far as listen to Pat McAfee today with Kirk Herbstreit on there. He made a very, very good point. He goes, "What is this whole situation called? The paying of the players. It's NIL, name, likeness, and
Name, image, likeness. Yes.
right. It's a marketing. You're not getting paid because you're playing well. You're getting paid because of NCAA football that I play wants to use your likeness on the game. Like that's one aspect of it. It's a marketing thing. It's not okay. Yeah, you
Right, but here's the thing: after so many years and so many court cases and everything like that, like this was the problem, and I agree. I forgot who said it, but again, it was earlier on in this week, and I think even last week, late last week, where I heard this, and it rang true. It resonated with me. Like when all these lawsuits, and all the judges started coming up with the decisions. Again, they're not the wrong decisions, and also a lot of this blame goes on the NCAA itself, because they had plenty of opportunities over the last 20 years to start looking at and implementing a way to do this with proper guardrails, with proper regulations, to figure it out and get it done. Instead, they had all the bigwigs in the NCAA dig in their heels and say, nope, never going to do it. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. Nope, never. We'll make video games with them. We will do everything with them. We'll sell everything with them. And they can't do anything about it. They're amateurs. That's the bottom line. If they get a fucking bagel with cream cheese, fucking help them. If they get a bagel with cream cheese, they're fucking out. They're done. No more college football for you. You're a violator. You've cheated. Like that. And that's fucking real. Go look up the fucking meals that the student athletes were allowed to have or not have. Like, this is what I mean. People are upset about them getting paid. Look at the shit that was going on beforehand. So, yeah, you know, again, a lot of, if not all of this blame belongs with the NCAA. So when the lawsuits came forward and these judges started coming down on the side of the athletes, I'm not calling them student athletes. They never were. They're never going to be. Stop. When the judgment started coming down, then all of a sudden, it's free. It's Wild West. It's all open.
Yeah.
You can, you know, and that's what I mean is by waiting so long and digging your heels in and just going la 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 la, nope, never going to happen, na, is that when, you know, the federal judges and fucking Congress and fucking people, it's like people getting there, and you have these judges coming out and saying, can't do that anymore. They're allowed to make money off of what they do over their likenesses, everything like that. It's open. Now you're dealing with a situation where anybody can get paid. And there's no guardrails about how they get paid, about how is it fair to everybody else. It's just, here you go. You can, everything you want. And there's zero guardrails. There's zero regulations. And now the NCAA is caught. Because trying to implement, like, the horse has already left the barn. Like, you can't pull that back, and you had your chance to do it. So now you have people like Herb Street, I wish I could remember his fucking name. I can't. Other college football journalists and reporters who are saying, like, it seems like the only thing now is to go to Congress and get federal legislation and get federal guardrails about how money is spent, how we can do this, anything like that. And it should have never gotten to this point. It should have never gotten to the point where we have to look to the federal goddamn government. The worst thing, you know, again, the 9 scariest words in the English language. I'm from the government. I'm here to help. Nobody wants that. So, but now we're at a point where the NCAA is so toothless and so feckless. They don't know what they're doing. And they spent so long digging in their heels and not reading the room, not seeing what was the inevitability going to be. They thought that forever they were just going to be able to get away with this. And for anybody who was paying attention, and I want to say mid to late aughts here in the 2000s, you saw the writing on the wall. You saw the way it was going to go. When you saw that, when who was it? Ed O'Bannon was the one who, I believe, from UCLA, was the one who originally had the case about them selling his likeness in the video games and stuff like that, and then a class action lawsuit, and other ones popped up, and everybody did that. Like, you saw the writing on the wall. Like, yeah, no, this is going to get thrown. It's going to go in their favor, and when it does, it's going to be wide open. And the NCAA refused. All the schools refused. Nope. Head in the sand. We're never going to do it. And again, now we're in this situation where you even ask the coaches, they don't know what's legal and not.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're allowed to do, what they're allowed to say. They don't, like, some of them said, we don't know who our quarterback's going to be. Because that's another thing. For some reason, the NCAA has 2 transfer windows. One during the college football playoffs, which we saw teams on playoff teams enter the transfer portal.
Yeah.
While they're in the playoffs. And then you have this one, which is now right before during spring practices and before spring games, where people can still jump. And as has been brought up a couple of times, there are people who jumped in the transfer portal, the one in December, the wintertime, and then are jumping in it now. So they jumped to a transfer portal, went to another school, never played a down for that school, and jumped back into the transfer portal to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, this is the shit that needs to get corrected. This is the shit that needs to get figured out. The Nico Iamaleava stuff is it's a symptom. It's not the cause.
Yeah.
He's obviously become the poster child for this now, but this has been a problem that has been brewing for a long time, and now that it's here, now you have people trying to work with it or fix it or do something on the fly, where you could have had something already set up, already ready to go, where you didn't have to go ahead and look for congressional fucking help. Good luck, especially in this fucking political climate, to get fucking anybody on the left or right to fucking agree with it. Because I guarantee you're going to have people on the left and like AOC and stuff like that that'll be like, everything's fine, give them all that money, they can do whatever they want. Yeah, and you got people on the right that are going to be like, nah, make them amateur again and take away all their money, nothing for them. And it's like, good luck getting these two fucking morons to fucking agree to anything. So that's not going to fucking help. So we're stuck in this situation when it comes to college football of just every fucking couple of months, somebody else is going to be a transfer portal, or somebody saying they're going to hold out for more NIL money, or they're doing this, that, or the other thing, or it's a problem. And they had a chance to fix it. They had a chance to not fix it, but prepare for it. They had a chance to have guardrails and set rules in so that in the eventuality that something like this would happen, we have either like a revenue sharing, or this is the amount that every team is allowed to spend on this, and a college salary cap and whatever the case is. And I fully believe, and again, Hamster in the chat saying make them amateur again or I won't watch. Then don't watch. You know what I mean? Like these, when you look at the revenue that fucking college football brings in, fuck off. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. And college basketball, to not as much of an extent, but definitely when it comes to March Madness, the amount of money, especially the money in Vegas during March Madness, the betting money that goes down, fuck off. Like, that's a lot. You're telling me that these kids get nothing? Like, again, I have no issue with the kids wetting their beak a little bit. But some of these kids getting a $2-3 million NIL deal, that's a little much.
Yeah.
That's a little much. That's what, like, listen, the kid gets maybe a couple $100,000 because, the local car dealership wants to use them in a commercial, or they have their likeness used in a video game, and you get a certain cut of that percentage like anybody else does. Fine. I like it. That's great. Because here's the problem now, too. Now you already have people clamoring, people like Mike fucking Florio, that fucking communist. But like they're pushing to, and he's not the only one, but you have a lot of people saying the next step in all of this is a college athlete union, where they're gonna just then you're gonna have a fucking and this is what I mean. All of this could have been prevented if you just would have fucking seen the writing on the wall, NCAA, and these bigger schools out there, the SEC and the Big Ten. If you just saw the writing on the wall and prepared yourself for it, you could have avoided this. But now it's going to get to the point where you're going to have a college football union, and then you're going to have to fucking negotiate a CBA, between these 120 fucking Division I universities and the tens and tens of thousands of fucking student athletes. And what a fucking mess that's going to fucking be. Yeah. And
it was basically the snowball effect. But the messed up part, like, to kind of agree with you, is, the snowball started like this. As it got here, they could have said, whoa, let's nip this in the butt right now. Instead, they let the whole avalanche come down.
Okay, Hamster. And again, chat's open if you want to come in, because Hamster's saying he's pissed. He's pissed at me. He says, they get a scholarship, something I'm still in debt for. They get a scholarship and free dorm and food. You said they get nothing. I couldn't even afford to live or eat on campus. Okay, couple things with this. Number one, you didn't bring any revenue to the campus. Okay, I love you, hamster. I'm not saying you didn't do anything great. I'm not saying you didn't do. You probably got a top flight education. I'm not saying anything like that. What I'm also saying though is these kids bring in billions of dollars to their individual universities, let alone college football and the NCAA as a whole. When you look at it that way, and as I mentioned before, you're talking about, oh well, they got free food. Kind of, maybe. Like I said, if they got a bagel with nothing on it, yeah, no, that was fine. If it had butter or cream cheese, that's a violation. They couldn't do that. And the NCAA was having kids suspended over things like that. And, they couldn't get an on-campus job to maybe pay for some of the other stuff that they needed or anything like that because that was considered. Well, they're using their position as leverage, and so that's actually considered to be preferential treatment, and therefore that would make them not amateur, and therefore they're suspended and in violation, and they can't do anything. Like the amount of draconian, stupid fucking rules they had. No, so yeah, you can sit there and argue, hamster, and say that. No, I'm still in debt because I went to college. They get a free scholarship, and they get again. I'm not disagreeing with you, and in that case, I also feel like those scholarships should be freed up, since we're going to pay kids now. I agree. Part of the getting to this stuff, those scholarships should be given to people who actually earn an academic scholarship. And that, if we're paying the kids now, athletic scholarships should be a thing of the past. That should be null and void. And what it should be like, if you're getting paid, you give up that scholarship. You still play there, but you're getting paid. You're an employee now of the school in that sense. I feel that, so I agree with that standpoint on your whole scholarship thing. But yeah. I'm sorry, you weren't bringing in billions of dollars to your local university. You weren't doing it. These kids are. And people can say like, oh, well, they're not even going there for an education. And, as we've heard plenty of them say, I didn't come to this school to play school. I didn't come to this school to play classroom. I came here to play football or basketball or whatever the case is. And that part of it is true. So, yeah, that's why I agree with, yeah, sure. Scholarships should be taken away from that athletic side. Outside of like some of the smaller sports, obviously, that don't have like the massive NIL deals or walk-ons. Like you see a lot of walk-ons still with college football. Like if somebody who is at college paying their own scholarship, paying their own way, and they make it on a football team, I feel like a good way to kind of reward that, in a sense, would be to give them a scholarship. Yeah. I have no issue with that. But to sit there and say like, nah, they shouldn't get a dime for the amount that they put in, like that's, not to sound. I mean, that's un-American to me. If you put in the work and your people are making money off your back, you deserve a cut of that money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's what are we doing? Like you could talk about it being amateur or not. If there are people paying to watch you play, if there's people paying to watch the skills that you provide, you're a professional. You should be getting paid as well. Now, again, there needs to be fucking guardrails. There needs to be regulations. There needs to be things like that in this so that it's not the fucking Wild West that it is. I can run fast and catch a ball. That ain't work. So then NFL players don't deserve to get paid either because that's not work. Because that's
I was going to say though, but that's not just the only thing they do. They still work 9-10 months out of the year.
That's what I mean. They're still
programs
doing all that. That's what I mean. Is like there's not an off season anywhere, and like this isn't 1956. This isn't 1978. Like this is not. We're not in that kind of era anymore. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, no, I want to see them write a research
That one I
paper.
agree with.
That is what it is. Like, and again, there's no illusion for that, and that's why I say I have a very hard time saying student athlete. They're not. They're athletes. That student part left a long time ago. Because let's all be honest. College athletes have been getting paid for fucking 80 years. Okay? The fact that now that it's legal in the eyes of most U.S. states and the law and the NCAA now because they was forced to, that doesn't change the fact that college athletes were getting paid. Like, SMU didn't get the death penalty for nothing, you know?
Yeah.
When you look at some of these other college programs and stuff like that, where players and sometimes entire teams were getting massive amounts of money from boosters, like we all know, like these kids would commit to a college and then they'd ride up to campus the next day in a fucking Lamborghini. Who the fuck are we kidding? So yes, college athletes have always been getting paid. Only it's always been very few and far between. And usually just one or two athletes been getting a very big chunk of money. This has become a little bit more fair, I guess you could say, in a way. But it's still now very unbalanced because obviously a lot of the bigger teams, your SEC teams, Big Ten teams, teams that are Power 5 schools can pay more than teams that are maybe smaller Division I schools. Even Power 5 schools, even small, like that's Ohio State's going to be able to pay more than Rutgers is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it is. You know, Michigan's going to be able to pay more than Maryland. Alabama's going to be able to pay more than Vanderbilt, even though they lost to them. You know, it's those things. That's what needs to be corralled. Much like an NFL salary cap, much like something like that, has to be something that's set free. You know, this is the amount that each team can spend. And I think that's the thing too. The way I would set it up is you have each institution is allocated so much money. This is what you're allocated to do from, let's say, revenue sharing from either different TV contracts or just whatever revenue would be, have it shared. And again, this was really something that's only going to have to be Power 5. Like this is where I think you're going to see maybe that upper level of college football break off and become its own entity. So they can kind of do this. So you'd have like a 65, 70 team league, let's say it. And so each institution is given, you're allocated this much, spend it how you want, but you can't spend over that. So you want to give one kid a big NIL deal, that's fine, but it's going to be less for everybody else. So that's it. I think there needs to be revenue sharing between those institutions. There needs to be a set limit on what each institution can spend. And I think that will greatly even the field. And then you'll have kids, maybe, again, it brings us back to, well, maybe I'll stay closer to a home university because I'll be making the same amount here than I would somewhere else. Because a lot of these kids are going fucking across the country because, well, Oregon said they'll pay me $3 million.
Yeah.
All right. And who's going to say no? If you're a 17-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid, who the fuck is saying no to $3 million to go play football or basketball, whatever it is? No one's saying that. Hampton says, I knew some college athletes and they couldn't even read. Yes. We know. We've seen them. We've heard them. We know the stories that people have come out and said they never went to fucking class once. I think Cam Newton is one of them. Said he never went to fucking class. He didn't go to a single fucking class.
Neither than basket weaving.
You know, and that's what I mean. They go in there and or the old standby communications, which is what I studied in college. So, yeah, like again, none of that is new though. None of that is surprising. That any of this happened. Like I said, look at the athletes that came out of college in the 80s and 90s, and like none of them went to class. None of them went to school. They were all paid under the table, little McDonald's bags. Enjoy your Happy Meal, sir. That's how shit happened. Now it's a little bit more out in the open, and now all of a sudden people want to get upset. Fuck off. Like, no. It just needs the guardrails. And that's unfortunately that Nico Iamaleava, I think, got sucked into it a little bit and thought, well, I'm gonna play this like an NFL star. And nope, you're still not an NFL star. That's not where we are. Yeah. Okay, so boy, wow, we talked. Well, I talked a lot. Sorry about that. And I pissed off Hamster, but this time I didn't do it talking about uniform colors, so that's something.
And during the off season.
Yeah, hey, listen, I can still rile them up. Jimbo, any final thoughts before we get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, one last thing about hockey. I don't know if you saw this. I think it happened over the weekend. How I forget the two teams, but it was NHL player got a game misconduct, got thrown out of the game,
right,
and still continued to play. The refs didn't realize
that he was still in the game.
He was still on the ice. It was like 5 minutes later that he was still playing.
Hey, wait a minute!
That's the first thing I thought of. It was a Russian skater who has a real bad, with the English, he
right.
doesn't really understand. He even came out and said, he goes, I did not understand them, so I could just keep playing.
I do not have many thoughts. I am just a piece of plastic.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I wonder if King saw this. This is
no, I didn't see that, but now I got to go look it up. That's pretty interesting. Okay, so that will do it for us. Again, thank you so much for joining us here. If you liked any part of this, especially me kind of pissing off Hamster, which apparently seems to be... It's either Hamster pisses me off or I piss Hamster off. Or we're just... All of us get pissed at each other somehow. I don't know how that usually happens. But it does happen. But and I'm surprised Hamster didn't give us our usual countdown to the Hall of Fame game. He's so angry at me, he didn't even do that this time. He's very mad. He's very mad at me. I get that. So he's going to be very upset when I start doing my uniform ranking videos on here. Stay tuned for that, Hamster. You're going to like it. I'm going to start getting into color minutia. I'm going to start talking about all the different RGB values and everything. Oh, you're going to love it. It's going to be great. Thank you so much for joining us. If you liked any part of this, unlike Hamster, go ahead and hit that like button. Share us around. Hit the share button. Helps us out as well. And if you're watching us and are not subscribed, please, for the love of God, hit the subscribe button. Those three things are absolutely free and help us out tremendously. Also, we have a link in the description below this video for our donation station if you want to throw us a couple bucks. 106 days! Thank you, Hamster. 106 days until the Hall of Fame game, and we start getting ready for football here in the great land of the United States of America. Thank you, Hamster. He's so mad. He's still so mad. There's your fucking countdown, asshole.
I just pictured him going like this. Back in the picture frame. 106 days.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can hear the sass in the text. He's very, very, very perturbed by my college football takes this year. But by the way, yes, the donation station link is in the description below as well for our merch store. You get yourself some Stay Tuned Sports coffee, get mugs, shirts, hoodies, a whole bunch of stuff, new stuff going in there all the time. Usually that was bullshit, but now, since it's the off season, I got nothing better to do. So there's a lot of merch that's going to that store. Check it out. And if you have any ideas, leave a comment. Let us know what you'd like to see in the store. Until something, maybe WrestleMania Saturday. We'll see. I'm not sure how either one of our plans is going. It's probably either gonna be me coming on probably a little bit late or not at all. And then Sunday we'll do WrestleMania Sunday together. So that will definitely be something that we are doing here on the channel. Maybe some Devil's Playoff games obviously being live streamed. Jimbo, he's got a good idea. He wants to do some Friday shows, some Friday lives of his iRacing and obviously other stuff. Like you said, bare knuckle boxing, stuff like that. All that kind of stuff happens. And of course, I said, look forward to, we're going to do some ranking videos here on Stay Tuned Sports on the subject that I love most, which is uniforms and logos and things like that. So stay tuned for all of that. See what I did there? Yeah, that's the thing you got to see. But until next time, for your good friend Jimbo, I'm your boy King, and we are out of here, everybody. Have yourself a great rest of the week.
Hamster.